Anthony Albanese is really keen to cut a deal with the U.S. and prove that he is able to stand up for Australian interests in the midst of Trump's trade war. But he also wants to prove that he can deal with Trump, who had a few nice words to say about him without even knowing who Peter Dutton was.
Albanese, I'm very friendly with. I don't know anything about the election. He's been very, very nice to me, very respectful to me. I have no idea who the other person is that ran against him. And, we've had a very good relationship.
Well, I'm sure Peter Dutton loved that, but the problem is that in trade negotiations, any demand to crimp Chinese investment in Australia would really infuriate Beijing, which, as Australian farmers, vintners, and coal miners know all too well, is willing to punish local producers for any perceived insult coming from Canberra. Here, the UK, of course, is in a far better position than Australia. China is Britain's fifth largest trading partner, and total two-way trade between the pair is only a bit more than 1/10 that between Britain and the EU just across the channel. But Australia, well, here we are a long way away from everyone. We don't have that advantage of close major trading partners and markets right nearby. So, as a result, China is by far our largest trading partner, and the failure of successive governments to wind this back, even after COVID gave us a big warning on that score, means that Beijing has a lot more sway here. So there's a dilemma now for Australia then, is that as much as our political leaders talk tough about stepping up for our sovereignty and our interests, the hard economics mean that we have far less room to move than we would like. Now, China happily circumnavigates our coast and conducts live fire exercises in the Tasman. They've issued apoplectic grievance letters that amount to attacks on our sovereignty. And all of this is not, to be sure, the fault of Labour alone, though the Albanese government has certainly done everything it can to cripple our self-reliance by driving up energy costs and regulations and paying to service and making our service industry with various slush future funds. But both sides of politics have presided over a tremendous decline in Australia's ability to actually make things. And both have yet to come to grips with the fact that not only is the world changing, but that it had to change, Trump or not. Fault Trump's approach all you like, but on the big question of China, he is fundamentally correct. Even the Wall Street Journal, which has been very critical of Trump of late, has said that the approach outlined by the president, and particularly his Treasury Secretary, Scott Morrison, indicates that he is trying to bring allied trading partners together to force Beijing to mend its ways. Australia, on the other hand, has blithely let itself become increasingly dependent on China, and with the honourable exception of Scott Morrison, our leaders have been unwilling to rock the boat. Change and choices are coming, Trump is leading the way, and it is now up to Albanese to manage what is happening correctly.